People didn't know BYD a year and a half ago. BYD's cars are amazing. Xiaomi's making cars. So EVs were kind of, pretty predictable, but EVs aren't shocking anyone. We know what cars are. But Elon Musk would say, look, EVs, autonomous vehicles, they're just robots. That's all they are. They're just robots that move. It's the first version of autonomous robots. So, the robotic story is a larger version of that. So, by every metric, every TAM, every market estimation, robotics is a crazy opportunity by size. I've been sort of selling to people I do a lot of advisory for companies. Look, your operating system is based on humans. That's how we build businesses. Our operating models are human-based. And we give humans tools, and maybe we give them some equipment. No. And then it's look, your operating system now is humans and agents, digital agents. Well, ultimately, your operating model is going to be a combination of humans, agents, and robots. HARO, H-A-R-O. That's your operating model. So you need to start building these things, and they all sort of work on their own and collaborate. But they're kind of autonomous units, autonomous creatures that can add value pretty much independently. Now, we're going from a human-based system to a HARO, humans, agent, robots. And robots they're not here yet. Agents will be here in the next 12 months. They're coming now. Robots, let's give it a year or two, but we can see them now. This Galbot company I went to, it was, they put it in a pharmacy, and it sits behind the pharmacy and it walks around and it can pick 5,000 SKUs, fill your order. If you go into a logistics warehouse like JD or Alibaba or Amazon, there's certain areas that have no humans, and then there's areas that have humans. You see a lot of humans in picking, packing, and then sorting. This package goes here, this package goes there, pick. That's what these robots are good at. They have hands, they can assess, they can pick this up, put it there. So we're seeing that's what Galbot is doing in logistics. They're putting these robots in sorting, which is kind of the human area. And then they put them in a 7-Eleven. If you go on Fox News, you can see this. The video went viral. It's just basically a robot behind the counter at a 7-Eleven. And you talk to it. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. Where are you coming from? I'd like a Coke. Oh, Coke is good. I can't. And it'll make jokes. Oh, Coke is so good, although I've never actually tasted one. It'll make little jokes. And then it goes and picks up the Coke. It's kind of slow still, but you can see where it's going. So those are kind of, robots are probably, agents, robots, they change the entire nature of what we think of as commerce. Because everything we do in business is based around humans. And it's look, we're not the only alternative. There's a couple alternatives to us now. There's one already here, agents, and there's another one on the way. So that's going to be a strange world.
Yeah. What companies are ones to watch for the next decade or so?
Yeah. Within my world, I focus much more on the consumer side, and then I focus on sort of hardware that's related. So, I know some of the EVs, but I'm not a car guy at the end of the day. I know I'm going to go visit CATL, which is the world's largest battery maker, rechargeable batteries. I'm heading out there in a couple of days. So I know I look at batteries, I look at semiconductors, I look at things that sort of support that side. But I don't know chemistry and stuff. So, ones I keep an eye on right now that I think others aren't maybe paying attention to. Let's see. That's Tmall, which is Alibaba. So they're an e-commerce giant like Amazon, although I think they're better. But they're also an AI giant. If you were to combine, OpenAI and Amazon into one company, or if you were to combine Google's AI capabilities with Amazon, that would get you Alibaba. They're one of the few players that are as powerful in both. So we're seeing a lot of interesting use cases of putting AI into how we do commerce. And their thesis, which is, look, we think the logic of commerce is going to be completely different now. It is not going to be a human goes into a store and buys something. Therefore, you have to build a system that connects merchants with consumers. and the merchant has to get a lot of data about the consumer and go omni-channel and market to them and try and get their attention. A lot of merchants, you may not be dealing with a human anymore. You may be selling to a software. That's a very different system.